All right. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yadkripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Madekabando Matsangin Madguro Manmahadana Mannishtaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we are with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, and the chapter titled Description of the Kingdom of God. So we saw that there were really beautiful descriptions of the Kingdom of God, actually. The whole atmosphere, how how are the flowers, how are the living different birds and bumblebees, and the atmosphere, the whole thing, and everything starts charged with mood of service and encouragement for mood of service. Now we are in the part where the great sages, the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar, they actually are now getting attracted to Vaikuntha. We are at text 49 today. 3:15:49. We'll read. Kamam bhavasva vrijine nirayeshu nastaj cheto livadyadinute padayorameta vachaschanas tulasi vadyadite ngrishoba purye tate gunagane yadi karnarandra. Kamam bhavasva vrijine nirayeshu nastaj cheto livad yadinute padayorameta vachaschanas tulasi vadyadite ngrishoba purye tate gunagane yadi karnarandra. Kamam bhavasva vrijine nirayeshu naschach cheto livadyadinute padayorameta vachaschanas tulasi vadyadite ngrishoba purye tate guna ganeryadi karnarandraha. So we'll read The verse itself sounds beautiful. We'll read. Kamam, as much as deserved, Babaha, birth, Swa Virginaihi, by our own sinful activities, Nirayeshu, in low births, Naha, our, Stat, let it be, Chetaha, minds, Ali, but, like bees, Yadi, if, Nu, maybe, Te, your, Padayo, at your lotus feet, Rameta, are engaged, Vachaha, words, Cha, and Naha, our, Tulasi, what, like the Tulasi leaves, Yadi, if, Te, your, Angri, at your lotus feet, Shobhaha, beautified, Puryeta, are filled, Te, your, Gunaganai, by transcendental qualities, Yadi, if, Karnarandraha, the holes of the ears. O Lord, we pray that you let us be born in any hellish condition of life, just as long as our hearts and minds are always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Our words are made beautiful by speaking of your activities, just as tulasi leaves are beautified when offered unto your lotus feet. And as long as our ears are always filled with the chanting of your transcendental qualities. Okay. So now, we'll read the purport. O Lord, purport. The four sages now offer their humility to the personality of Godhead because of their having been haughty in cursing two other devotees of the Lord. Jaya and Vijaya, the two doorkeepers who checked them from entering the Vaikuntha planet, were certainly offenders, but as Vaishnavas, the four sages should not have cursed them in anger. After the incident, they became conscious that they had done wrong by cursing the devotees of the Lord. And they prayed to the Lord that even in the hellish condition of life, their minds might not be distracted from the engagement of service to the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. Those who are devotees of the Lord are not afraid of any condition of life, provided there is constant engagement in the service of the Lord. It is said of the Narayana Para, or those who are devotees of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Na kutaschana bibhyati. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. They are not afraid of entering a hellish condition, for since they are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, heaven or hell is the same for them. In material life, both heaven and hell are one and the same because they are material. In either place, there is no engagement in Lord's service. Therefore, those who are engaged in the service of the Lord see no distinction between heaven and hell. It's only the materialists who prefer one to the other. These four devotees prayed to the Lord that although they might go to hell because they had cursed devotees, they might not forget the service of the Lord. The transcendental loving service of the Lord is performed in three ways: with the body, with the mind, and with words. Here, the sages pray that their words may always be engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord. One may speak very nicely with ornamental language, or one may be expert at controlled grammatical presentation. But if one's words are not engaged in the service of the Lord, they have no flavor and no actual use. The example is given here of tulasi leaves. The tulasi leaf is very useful, even from the medicinal and antiseptic point of view. It is considered sacred and is offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. The tulasi leaf has numerous good qualities, but if it were not offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, tulasi could not be of much value or importance. Similarly, One may speak very nicely from the rhetorical or grammatical point of view, which may be very much appreciated by a materialistic audience. But if one's words are not offered to the service of the Lord, they are useless. The holes of the ears are very small and can be filled with any insignificant sound. So how can they receive as great a vibration as the glorification of the Lord? The answer is that the holes of the ears are like the sky. As the sky can never be filled up, the quality of the ear is such that one may go on pouring vibrations of various kinds, yet it's capable of receiving more and more vibrations. A devotee is not afraid of going to hell if he has the opportunity to hear the glories of the Lord constantly. This is the advantage of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One may be put in any condition, but God gives him the prerogative to chant Hare Krishna. In any condition of life, if one goes on chanting, he will never be unhappy. So this is one of the last concluding verses of this chapter. Yeah. In the previous verse, in text 48, the previous verse, we'll just read the translation. Persons who are very expert and most intelligent in understanding things as they are engage in hearing narrations of the auspicious activities and pastimes of the Lord, which are worth chanting and worth hearing. Such persons do not even care for the highest material benediction, namely liberation. To say nothing of other less important benedictions like the material happiness of the heavenly kingdom. So this verse 48 is saying that even liberation is not something that a devotee desires or not even looks forward to. The only thing that a devotee looks forward to is service and hearing, chanting. So this verse is highlighting where the four Kumaras telling that, once having tasted the opportunity for devotional service, one doesn't even think of liberation. So now, here in this 49th verse, if we see, they are now saying that we pray that you let us be born even in any hellish condition of life. Now, they are emphasizing that we are not interested in liberation. Because when we are in trouble, when we are really suffering, the immediate thought that comes or desire that awakens is, I want to be relieved of this condition of life. I want to be liberated. I want to be, I want this situation to settle down and things be over. So that is the actual, that's kind of like our approach sometimes in, everybody wants a break from the struggles of life. So here, to really prove that they do want devotional service, four Kumaras are following this verse to the previous verse. Because when we see the previous verse, they say those who are devotees, they don't even look for liberation. Now they're saying we are also your devotees. We are also not interested in liberation. We are interested only in your service. So if we have to be in hellish condition of life because of whatever we have done, we are okay with that. But please give us the opportunity to hear as long as we have these ears, and give us the opportunity to speak about you as long as we can speak. Let our words be, connected to you, glorifying you, and let our minds and hearts be engaged in this service. So now it's very nice here. Just the mood is coming out very beautifully, that heart and mind should be in place of service, and then our hands and legs will do actual service. So basically our interest is to fix our heart and mind and then perform service through which we again nourish that fixity of our heart and mind on Krishna or on Sri Guru. So if the heart and mind is not in place, then we do some service, there are opportunities for everything else that can creep in, like the desire for designation or any anarthas that we can take, or a sense of doership. All these things can come in actually. So cart before the horse before the cart. So that's the principle here. Hearts and minds fix, or at least bring the focus, situate the consciousness in service to Sri Guru and Sri Radha Krishna, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and then engage in a particular service, and then check. I was told in the beginning also. In beginning, always we are beginning to learn every day. But I was told some years ago that it'll be a nice practice to check your consciousness beginning, in the middle, and at the end of any service that you do, because we lose track that we are actually offering a service, and suddenly we realize that oh my God, it's all about me right now. So we just, it's nice to know, it's a joyful process to understand where we are at. That brings natural, joyful kind of a regret, where we take up to see how Guru and Krishna have accepted us and have given offered this privilege of service, no matter where we are at. So here, that's the humility that the four Kumaras are actually offering. The four sages now offer their humility to personality of Godhead. That's what is being said here by Srila Prabhupada, because of their having haughty and cursing two other devotees. So in some areas, when we do something that is unacceptable, that's also a blessing, because then we explicitly realize where we are at. Anyway, so this topic is wide. And now in the next paragraph, or in the same paragraph, Prabhupada elaborates on this prayer that they are having about their hearts and minds want to be with Krishna, words want to be with Krishna, and ears want to hear. So Prabhupada quotes the verse that is spoken by Lord Shiva to Parvati Devi in 6th canto about Maharaj Chitraketu. So Maharaj Chitraketu comments on Lord, Shiva sitting with his wife Parvati Devi on his lap, and Mother Parvati actually curses Chitraketu Maharaj, and then Lord Shiva responds to that and says, "What are you saying? These devotees, Narayana Para Sarva, na kutaschana bibhyati, swarga apavarga narakeshu, apitulyatra darshanam." They say that, he says that one who actually has surrendered to Narayana, surrendered themselves and everything to Narayana Para, those devotees of Narayana, na kutaschana bibhyati, they don't get afraid whether they go to Naraka, Swarga, Apavarga, Narakeshu. If they get Swarga, if they move on to liberated position, Apavarga, and or Narakeshu, Apitulyartha Darshanam, they really don't care. All they care is for service to Narayana. Their hearts and minds are fixed. So once again and again and again, this instruction is coming. And when we go to Nectar of Devotion, the Paribhasha Sutra, the main verse of Nectar of Devotion is, what is the verse? Our verse about pure devotional service.
Anyabhilash.
Anyabhilash, thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavratam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So even in that, when we read further, when we hear more on this verse, we get to know that the main heart of this verse is Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Cultivating the favorable intention towards pleasing Guru and Krishna, following in the footsteps of the previous teachers, the previous acharyas. So that is the heart of pure devotional service. And then Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavratam, all these things are on the side. And similar focus when we read Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, verse 8 through 12, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rajyavam. There is a list of items of knowledge. These sound like qualities, humility, pridelessness, all these. But then Prabhupada, Krishna actually, says that these are items of knowledge. So, in that, which is the main item? The main item is Bhakti Rabya Abhicharini, or like the what is it? The unalloyed devotion, the heart and mind fixed. That is the main heart, and rest of the qualities or items of knowledge follows. Same thing we hear in Sikshashtaka. Like these teachings are, what do you call? Not repeated. These teachings are saying that something is very important here. That is, our heart and mind first get fixed. That doesn't mean that we don't do any service until we become pure devotees. Not like that. We take up service, then we intentionally bring our consciousness, offer prayers, fix our mind, and try to bring back our wandering mind to the point where this is in service to my spiritual master and the disciplic succession. For without them, I'm of no importance, or I'm not of no use. So that's the back, bringing that back. So heart and the mind has to be brought back. In Sikshashtaka, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, holy name has everything. Actually, all knowledge, transcendental knowledge, can be awakened by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So then that's why we are instructed again and again, bring back the mind. That's one of the keys. Bring the mind back to holy name. Keep the holy name in your mind and keep your mind in the center of the holy name. That is the guidance that we get from all the experienced chanters of the holy name. So basically, this is such a beautiful verse, bringing a sense of focus to what we are doing. Our hands and legs moving is definitely very useful. Doing some service is definitely useful. Along with that, this needs to be there. Actually, this has to be priority, that our heart and minds have to get fixed. Therefore, our sadhana bhakti is also very important in order to move on in growing in our service, not skill wise or not in the way of doing or not in the way of expertise, but in growing in our service with our heart. Then we are always recommended. We are recommended to bring our mind, bring our heart back from wherever they are wandering around and fix at the lotus feet of Sri Guru, and then offer some service and pray that let this service nourish my faith and my commitment and my knowledge about Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and Sri Radha Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name. And so this is the mood that is being offered by our one of the Sampradaya Acharyas, 4 Kumaras. This is what they're offering. Yeah. So if the heart and mind is in place, then whether we have the skill set, we have the abilities, so-called, all those things actually, if Krishna desires, he will just give us everything. If he thinks we are better engaged in some other way, he will show us the direction. So this is important. Anyway, so beautiful verses. Now, Prabhupada in the second paragraph focuses on how is it very important to use our ears for the right purpose. The holes of the ears are very small. Oh, really? I mean, every time when I see when somebody comes with earache and we look inside with the otoscope, it's so hard sometimes to just anyway. So the holes of the ears are very small and can be filled with any insignificant sound. So how can they receive a great vibration as the glorification of the Lord? The answer is that the holes of the ears are like the sky, very small hole, but opens up the sky of the heart, right? We also hear another example. It's like our ears are like funnel, and whatever we pour, the vessel of our heart is very big. Our mind is also very vast. They can retain a lot, actually, if you would like to. So they retain. Anyway, they retain a lot. Whether we put material sound vibration and material experiences, or spiritual sound vibrations or spiritual experiences, that is our choice. So fixing our, this is all falling into place. Fixing our mind and heart actually can happen when the holes of the ears are used properly and the words are used properly. By vibration, receiving vibration, speaking vibration, if they're aligned to Shri Guru, and then everything else falls into place. So Srila Prabhupada is extraordinary that this verse would have otherwise been appreciated to some extent as for Kumara's realization. But now Prabhupada brought it to our practical application, or our practical experience of how this verse is applicable for us. It is their realization, their prayer. But whenever a great saint prays or shares their realization, they're not sharing. They're not. This is not published for boasting them. This is published because they leave us that realization. They leave back the experience, their experience, to attract us to do the same thing. So anyway, so this is beautiful, and we only have one more verse to complete this chapter tomorrow. Thank you very much. We will pause here. And oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, I did not take a look properly at the time. If anyone has any quick comments in the next maybe few minutes, we can take, and then otherwise we will wrap up.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances always to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, wonderful class. Thank you for all the details. Particularly this, I was recalling you doing the class Bhagavad Gita 7.1. Where Krishna tells Arjuna Tat Shrunu, and that is what was coming in my mind. So a few words from you on that also, Mataji. Thank you.
Oh, that verse is a beautiful verse. Even there, he says that just here, Tat Shrunu, he says, and then how do we hear? There are multiple qualifiers after that. When we hear with care. Kishore, do you remember? I know you went through this recently. I also went through this recently, but my mind is all over the place. But the 7 keys of hearing is given in that verse, Tat Shrunu. Let me get I don't have the book here. Let's go through it anyway. So, yeah. So Krishna says, okay, just here, Tat Shrunu. What do you hear? I'll tell you about the phenomenal and numinous knowledge, right? I'll give you Jnanam and Vijnanam. I'll give you. And when you hear this, then Asamshaya, you'll become freed from all doubts. So when you become freed from all doubts, what happens? then you will take shelter of me. Your mind will get fixed in me and you'll take shelter of me. When you take shelter of me, what happens? We think that's the end point. That's not the end point. Then he says, Yogam Yunjan. You will really feel like practicing bhakti yoga. So it is, everything starts from Tashrunu to actually for us to practice bhakti. And Tashrunu brings us through all the stages of sadhana bhakti and then takes us towards raganuga bhakti and further stages. So the main important thing that Krishna repeats is Tashrunu. And then in the 9th chapter again, he says Tashrunu. I mean, he doesn't use that verse. He says here. And then in 10th chapter, he says, listen again, O Arjuna. So he has been, throughout the Bhakti chapters, the main instruction that comes repeatedly from Arjuna in from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is Tashrunu. Hear, 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 hear. When we chant, we hear the mantra. When we hear the mood and we hear the spirit of the speaker. When we read, we hear the spirit of Srila Prabhupada. And when we study, we hear the questions and answers of the sages and Parikshit Maharaj and Vidura and everyone. And Prahlad Maharaj, now that this is his month, basically, this verse also is beautiful. He also says similar verse, right? In the 7th canto. I don't want anything. Don't even offer anything to me. I'm not interested. I only want this relationship. So that's even, so anyway, so Tashrunu is a very important verse. Yeah. Thank you, Radha Kunjai Prabhu, for reminding us of that. It's a beautiful verse. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji, for revising Bhagavad Gita here. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm hoping that will be a question for our Shastri, Bhakti Shastri.
Okay. Yes.
I liked, quick comment. I was thinking while you're speaking, it's, this heart and mind should be in place for service. More often, my heart says something, my mind is all over. It's not easy to, so many distractions. And what to speak of mental offenses that I make.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking I'm still able to do some service or devotional service,
Yeah.
serve devotees and Krishna.
Yeah.
It's all without, Prabhupada's mercy, Guru's mercy, how I'm able to do even in this position.
Yeah.
After so many offenses I'm doing every now and then.
Yeah.
So it's just want to bring it up that the mercy of our acharyas is really within us.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. That's our family. That's our lineage. The lineage and family we belong to is the most merciful of, in the entire creation. So therefore, we just have to show slight interest once in a blue moon. Even they take it and they just constantly pour, because otherwise what capacity do we have even to chant the basic 16 rounds of japa, or just follow regulative principles, or just have prashadam, or even just to think about practicing. This is all mercy, actually, a lot of mercy. And that mercy enables us to invest a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. And then when we invest a little more, again, more mercy. So it is a very a sweet journey, even though we sometimes have dry patches. We do have to identify the sweetness within the dry patches that we have. That is the beauty. And thank you for sharing. That is very, very nice glorification of acharyas, because without them we are nowhere, honestly. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Krishna. Okay. I think Lakshmi Kantaprabha, I think we are 8:09. We will pause here. And thanks a lot. I'm extremely sorry I was a couple of minutes late. Like I said, I did sit where I have to be speaking and I forgot. That's the Kali Yuga mindset. But thank you. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण।